Hello and welcome to another episode of Charles Weekly Party. I'm Charles, and before I get things started, let's roll the intro. Alright, so do have a couple things to talk about today. Making life a little bit simpler. Only going to be talking about, what's the word for it? Two things today. So, and trying to get a little bit of a theme, but, well, I actually stumbled across a little bit of a connection accidentally, but here we are. So, today there's going to be, once again, architecture and technology. I know last episode I focused on more of the technology aspect with Apple's WWDC. And as much as it was enjoyable talking about all of the big changes that they made, I think it goes without saying that I'd like to talk about both my architecture and my technology again. And of course, by my architecture and my technology, I mean the things that caught my eye and got my gears going today. So here we are. Architecture-wise, I'm going to be talking about a pavilion located in Thailand. Am I saying that right? I had the name before the episode, but unfortunately, I am recording with a headache right about now, so that's fun. But there's an old saying, not necessarily an old saying, but a saying that popped into my mind just now, and I can't remember what it was. So, unfortunately, I'm no better than the rest of the world. I do forget things from time to time. But without further ado, I'm going to talk about the No Sunrise, No Sunset Pavilion. And yes, that's the name of the pavilion. So it's designed by Malaysia. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm not 100% sure. But it's located in Krabi, Thailand. And what it is a pavilion on the beach. And when I say pavilion, I'm not talking about what you'd what you'd expect to see in your town green, right? You have a little sort of pavilion in the center with what's the word for it? With benches surrounding it, maybe a little bit of nice landscaping, a couple of rose bushes around it. Step up a couple of steps, and that's where the band plays occasionally. But here we are in a much different type of pavilion. And when I say different, I mean it's different in essentially every way, every shape, every form that you could possibly think. So, first and foremost, there's a reflective outer surface of the building. When I say reflective, I don't just mean it reflects some light. It's absolutely reflective. So, when I say these outer surfaces are absolutely reflective, I am talking about the fact that you have a full reflection coming off of them. You're not just looking at you're not just looking at a blurry reflection like you might see on the side of a car. You're looking at as it's something basically as reflective, or even more reflective, I'd say, than your rear view mirror would be. I have to read something from the architect's description, architect's description of the pavilion verbatim, because there's no way I could really capture the element that they've placed in without actually going word for word. So, Yaisa is the symbol of love and awaiting. She's been waiting for someone she loves who has been leaving her to search for the ultimate truth and promise her he will return to her when he finds it. Every day she stands at the same point waiting for him. And that's the first paragraph of the architect's description. And thinking on it, I've noted out that just looking at that pavilion, it embodies that in so many different ways. So, someone she loves, right? Someone who she really loves, cannot wait to see, always thinks about, has gone to search for truth. And not just any truth, the ultimate truth. And what is the ultimate truth? Well, going back to my favorite classic sayings, there are always three sides to a story. Your side, my side, and the truth. Obviously, that increases the more people that you have. So, if you have a group of 3 people, you're going to have 4 sides of the story, and you get the picture. But looking at it, there's the your side and the my side, right? You can say something. I can say something. And to some degree, unless one person's saying the sky, if one person's saying the sky is blue, another person saying the sky is purple, if you go outside, maybe it happens to be a deeper mix of blue and purple, so that it's not quite blue, but it's not quite purple. Well, in that case, both of them had a bit of truth to it, but it wasn't the full truth. But the problem with that third side of the full and honest truth is that there's never, ever a way to really go and find out what that truth is. At least not here on planet Earth. There's no way for me to go and look and say, okay, I said this, but here's where I was wrong. You said this, but here's where you were wrong, and here's the 100% truth piece. And falling into that same category is the whole 2 people can be saying different things, but both can be right. Just because you're right doesn't mean I'm wrong. I've had that happen a few times. Someone took my saying, hey, I'm reading something here, and I quite literally went and fact-checked something, and said, wait a sec, no, you're wrong. And then it took a bit, but you can always find out, hey, wait a second, you and I can both say something, we're both right. There are always times where we have so many things that are right, but not 100% right. And that's where I'm going here. That's the ultimate truth. The ultimate truth, 100% right. The sky is 12 shades of blue lighter than true visual light mapped blue. Of the truest blue that you could have, it's 12 shades lighter. You get the picture. You can have various different types of reds, and you can have 2 reds, but one's true red and one's a slightly different red. But obviously the red that you have when you're working on a digital program is the hex code. That's the easiest way, or RGB mixings, to map out an exact color, so you can, no matter where you go, that one color is the same everywhere. And that ultimate truth is that it's the true colors, the specific colors that don't change. The problem with ultimate truth is that we can't really get it. And that's where this pavilion is. It's in a state of, it's here, someone's waiting for someone to come back with the truth. Searching for that ultimate truth. Will someone ever come back? that's where the reflective nature of the pavilion comes in. Because if you're in there waiting for someone to come back with the ultimate truth that's impossible to find, then will they ever come back? Or will they think they found the truth, but not actually find the truth and come back with something that they think is the truth? You never know. And if you do find the ultimate truth, could you live with it? I think, and personally, that's something that's been harping on me more recently. There are a lot of things that I did. I wasn't really the most honest person when I was growing up, but then again, a lot of us aren't, especially when it comes to discussions with our parents. But over the past couple of years, I've grown to especially enjoy the truth. And that's been my sort of looking at the mirror, looking at reflections, and reflecting on my thoughts, reflecting on my actions, and figuring out what did I do, what didn't I do, and creating the truth, because there is only one ultimate truth. We can't find it. We can try and get as close to it as we can, but striving to be as close to it as we can is, I think, is one of the most difficult reflections to make. How do we reflect strongly enough to make sure that we're actually where we want to be, and not just where we want to be, but where we should be? It's easy to say, yeah, tell the truth, but when it actually comes to telling truth all of the time, it gets difficult. And then you have to reflect sometimes, is what it was saying the truth the best thing? Sometimes I think about that, because the other problem with the ultimate truth is that sometimes it isn't pretty. Sometimes when we look at the truth, it's a little bit too harsh. That gets to be slightly tricky balance. So, how to reflect on that? Well, and how does this pavilion do it besides just having a reflective outer surface? Having that reflective outer surface does two things. First, it lets you see some of the other pieces behind. See whatever angle you're at. You know standard angles with the mirror, angle in equals angle out, and all that fun stuff. But it's there to sort of remind you that, and going back to that ultimate truth thing, you can look straight into something. And sometimes the problem is you don't know whether you're looking in a mirror or not. Life is a hall of mirrors. You can't tell if you're looking straight at someone or at a reflection of someone. And you can never tell if that reflection of someone is deceptive. And that's where this whole thing is going. The reflective surfaces aren't just there to go and say, hey, I want to have something so people can say, ooh, reflect. No, it's looking at not only the reflections, but the types of reflections. And also how we can deceive ourselves, which is where the name comes in. No sunrise, no sunset. Because in reality, there is no sunrise, there is no sunset. The earth moves, not the sun. And when I say that, I mean the Earth's the one revolving around the sun, not the other way around. So in reality, we see the sun go up in the sky and down in the night, but it doesn't move. We're moving. And that is exactly what really connects everything. And with the reflection, with the name, you can look straight at until we got into or made later scientific discoveries. Everyone thought that the sun revolved around the Earth, and it took quite a long time before we were able to determine for a fact that no, it may look like it, but it doesn't. And that's the way a lot of things are. We're searching for the ultimate truth, but we'll never, ever find out 100% of the truth. And even when we think we found the truth, have we? Is what this wants to remind us. It's easy to think that we have, but more often than not, there are times that we think we found the truth. But in reality, all we're looking at is a mirror. We're waiting for something that's not going to happen. And that's where we have to make the reflection. Does this fit? Or not this, does this fit? Does this satisfy the amount of truth? Does this satisfy what I need? Or will I keep hungering for more? Because we can go searching for something forever, but never have the chance to find it. And sometimes accepting that can be the hardest part. Now I got a little bit philosophical about this, but to connect with its name, the building itself is actually in line with the sunset. So when the sun sets, if you're inside the pavilion, it sets straight in front of you. That's where the sunset is. And yes, when an architect wants to, that's the sort of thing that can be planned out. Use these cute little things called sun path diagrams. It's a little bit of work, but once you understand it, you get it. That tells us where the sun's going to be at any point in time, in a specific location. And that's how we're able to plan out for things like having the sunset go on straight ahead there. So, I guess my thoughts are just looking at how many times, or how we have a building that embodies that whole philosophical question that I went through. That whole reflection that just happened is the sort of thing that type of building inspires. And that's one of my favorite things about architecture. Architecture isn't just a building. Architecture is the meaning in the building. And part of the problem is, will I ever know 100% of what this means? From the architect's point of view, probably not. I'll probably never find out 100% of that meaning. Because even if I talk to the person or the group of people who designed this, they aren't necessarily willing to say every single thing. There are a few things I know I've worked on in design that I've hidden. Little sort of Easter eggs that I know are there. You can look for them, you can find them. I may or may not tell you that they're there, but they're there. And that's the fun part. I guess to some degree we can't tell whether or not in architecture we can look at something, question, does it have meaning or does it not have meaning? And that's the question that this building seeks to not exactly answer. We won't know. But the whole point is we won't know. So, on the topic of sunsets, are we looking at the sunset of Windows 10? Now, with my transition to the technology portion of the episode, Windows 10 was announced as being the last version of Windows. The version that would be updated and never have to worry about updating again, or upgrading. Because in the past, the way it worked is a new operating system comes out, and when new operating system came out, then you had to purchase the upgrade. Another new operating system comes out, purchase the upgrade. And you had to purchase it on discs too. Well, what can I say? Things have changed. And I know Apple did it a lot earlier than Microsoft did, but with Windows 10, that was the whole goal. Switch to a way where once you get Windows 10, you get updates over time. Each update supported for about 18 months, and after that, you have to be on the latest update or else you don't get support. Well, recently it's come to attention about the end-of-life date on Microsoft's website about the end of Windows 10. In truth, that date has been there. It's been on their website. I remember looking at it with or when Windows 10 was released, before they announced, maybe before they announced its release. But I saw that before I found out about the Windows as a Surface piece. But with that date being there and that date still being there, it's begged the question, will there be a Windows 11? Did Microsoft lie to us? Well, the answer here is once again a very long and complicated I don't know. If there, and actually it's to some degree a catch-22 for Microsoft. Or they could just be playing a very interesting, someone in PR could be playing a very interesting prank on us, but be fun nonetheless. So either we are getting on the bad end of a really bad joke, or Microsoft was incorrect or decided to eat their words and release another version of Windows. Now, deprecating versions of Windows isn't a new topic, because versions of Windows have been deprecated for quite a while now, and it's usually about 10 years after its initial release. So Windows XP, I think, lasted for about 14 years, was released I don't know the exact date of release, but very early 2000s. So I know you had Windows 2000, which was fitting for the name. But Windows XP was released a little bit later and kept going for, I think, either 12 or 14 years. I remember the deprecation time being, what was it? I think it was to... Really should know this because I saw the whole thing on the sort of virtual tombstone there. But no, if my memory serves me correctly, it was sometime in 2014. And that was extended for a bit because of the because Vista was a screw-up, and adoption from Windows XP to Windows 7 was a little bit challenging. So, believe it or not, little known feature with Windows 7 is that to help encourage the transition to from Windows XP to Windows 7, you could actually run a virtual machine with Windows XP with something called legacy mode. So you have the protection of the up-to-date operating system, but you're able to run Windows XP for something that isn't forwards compatible. And I wish they had done something similar with Windows 10 and Windows 7. That would have been a lot more encouragement to upgrade for people. If you could say, hey, upgrade to Windows 10, you can work out with Windows 7 for free, no problemo. Nope. They didn't do that. Oh well. But Windows 7 support ended January of last year being 2020. And that's the end of mainstream support. So as an average consumer, you can't get the support for free. If you're a business, they've offered the support to maintain for another 3 years, but you have to pay for it. And the cost increases each year, and after that 3-year period, so by 2023, no support will be offered. You'd best be on the latest version of Windows. But what will the latest What will the latest version of Windows be at that point? Well, rumors are suggesting that it could possibly be Windows 11. Maybe by their Windows 10 as a service, they meant Windows 10 will keep going as other versions of Windows 10. Hey, we were on, what was it? Mac OS 10 lasted for quite a while. Mac OS Big Sur is the first, not first version of Mac OS to change a number, but marked the first time in a while that Mac OS was changed from Mac OS 10 point something to Mac OS 11. And it wasn't said during their keynote about whether or not Mac OS Monterey will be 11 point something or if it'll be Mac OS 12. But we'll see. Personally, I think it should be 11.1. But we'll see on that too. Which would almost be funny because then Mac OS and Windows would be on the same version. Actually, that would be really funny. But you may be asking what are the rumors and suspicions about a Windows 11? Well, first, the fact that the page got edited slightly with the deprecation date in it without changing that deprecation date because, well, if you're saying that the whole operating system is going to be discontinued in 2025, well, we're going to have a slight problem. Because now Windows 10, which was promised to be the last Windows, isn't. That'd be a slight oops for Microsoft. But with the Microsoft logo on their website for the keynote that they're going to be having on June 24th, you see light shining through the Microsoft logo there without the colors. You just see the light shining through, but it's not forming a Windows symbol on the ground. It's forming... There isn't a set of bar. It loses one bar in the window, so it looks more like an 11. Also conveniently, as an unlisted video, Microsoft released some of their startup sounds slowed down 4,000%. Guess how long that video is? Spoiler alert, the answer is 11 minutes. And you know when that keynote is? It's at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And even if you're going using 24-hour time, it's 1100 hours. So no matter what, you have the 11 there. Coincidence? Or just a big little joke that someone decided to see if they could play? Well, we'll find that out on June 24th. But that's where we are. Don't know. It'll be fun, but there are I wasn't able to make it through the soothing sounds. For me, at least, I also had other stuff to do and other things that I wanted to listen to. But if you're into it, you can look it up, and there should be a way to find it because the video is unlisted. So if you search for it in YouTube, you're not going to find it. But if you find someone else who has a link to it, then they'll have it, and I promise the link's out there. But all in all, I hope you've enjoyed this slightly reflective version of Charles' Weekly Party. And we're going to be staying on Season 21 for a while, so don't worry about that. If you enjoyed this more reflective look on architecture, both mentally and physically, then I invite you to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. And you can also go to anchor.fm/Charles Weekly Party, where you can listen to previous episodes of the podcast, as well as leaving a voice message or supporting the podcast. Also, if you happen to be using Apple Podcasts right now and you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to leave a review. And last but not least, if you want to see the action, or I guess the best way to put action is watching me deliver the weekly party. For some people, it ends up being a little bit easier. I don't know. But you can always watch the action on YouTube. So, till next time, enjoy reflecting on what the truth is and how close we'll get to it. And other than that, take care, enjoy your week, and I'll see you next time.